Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Saturday, January 9th. Then double check that. It's January 9th, 2021. Welcome, everybody. If you're listening to this on the podcast version, thank you so much for listening to the audio-only version, and I hope you guys are having a good run. Everyone checking this out on YouTube after the fact, hopefully you guys are doing well as well. It is a nice day here in Iowa. It's actually kind of warm today. I took the kids outside to play for the first time in like an entire week. Before we had been going out like every day to play in the snow, like during like lunch recess time. But they've all been kind of like a little bit extra moody and kind of grumpy lately. And my wife and I were kind of attributing that to like they're just a little tired. So I felt like I was wearing them out. So we decided to like take it easy on them this week, kept them inside. We did a lot of puzzles this week. And now they were by today, they were like rearing to go. They were like throwing things at everyone this morning. They were like, take us outside. So we did that. But I had a long run today and it ended up being a little bit harder than I was planning on running. It was a great run. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but it was harder than I was planning. And so like when they wanted to go outside, I was just like, oh, I'm so tired. I was just dreading it, even though it's super fun to go and play with my kids outside in the snow. They're the exact right ages to play with kids in the snow, and a lot of fun. I enjoyed being out there, but I was just like, oh, I'm so tired. I don't know if I can do this. And I was like, compared to the 15-mile long run I had planned for me this morning, the run, I was just like, ready to go. Let's go. Let's get a run in. But when it came time to like playing with children, I was like, oh, it's going to be hard. I don't know if anyone else gets that. Maybe if I reverse the order, but I think even if I reverse the order, I would still think, oh, it's hard to play with kids. I mean, it's just so demanding sometimes. All right. Carlos Sejas is here. Was the first one here, and he had the first like too. Awesome. Steve is here as well. He's going to go watch an EdBud video and then come back. Cool. Awesome. And let's see. Oh, you guys were here early because then it was a little bit until Philip Bourne came. Awesome. Good to see you, Philip, again. He had a 21K half marathon zone 2 run with the dog this morning. Awesome. From darkness to daylight, only foggy and cloudy day. Oh, I know that's basically every run for me. I spent a good like hour, at least it felt like longer than an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes just in darkness today. It took a long time for it to get light out. But he's getting the dog. The dog hasn't, so I think you can relate to me. Got the dog there wanting to run more. 30K coming soon. Ooh, that's a lot. That's the hard thing is like once that dog gets up to running 30K at a time, that dog's going to want to always run 30K at a time. Chris says, the massage gun hasn't arrived. You sure you got my correct address? Let me see. I thought I did. It took me a while to send it out, though. I didn't send it out till maybe Monday or Tuesday. Things are taking a long time with the post office. I don't know if it's this post office here that's the holdup or like just this general area, Eastern Iowa. But like, remember how we were talking about how Believe in the Run was sending me that Kraft carbon racer? It still hasn't arrived. And that's coming by United States Postal Service as well. I think they're a little bit, I think they're still like recovering from like the election and all, and basically everything that's been going on. So I would say give it a couple of days, but I'll check on the address. And it says, hi, Kofuzi and everybody. A solo trail run today. Pip rested her paw. I saw that. I was bummed out. And he says it's not the same running without her, but it's still good out to be running. It looks like he had some good pictures out, some good weather for today. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. Jeff Corman says, I all got here early because I felt bad mixing up Ben Affleck and Matt Damon yesterday. Oh, Pearl Harbor. He says there was a fan of Ben. I'm glad you came back to clear that up. So there was a fan of Ben, but then Argo came. Argo with that Zeppelin soundtrack, so good. I don't know what that means. Argo with that Zeppelin soundtrack? I don't know what that. I'll have to look into that. I like both of them. Ben Affleck, I like less and less. By the time he beat what he was was he Batman or was he? It was like Batman versus Superman. Ben Affleck was one of those, right? By then I was just like, no, I don't like this dude anymore. Where's the dude that was in Good Will Hunting? That's the guy that I like. Yeah. Casey A says, hey everyone, great run today on a chilly afternoon in Massachusetts. Awesome. Neat Penguin says, hope everyone is doing well. Long time no stream. Good to see you again, Neat Penguin. I think it hasn't been a while. All right. Martha's here. Good to see you again, Martha. Martha, it only just now, for whatever reason, only now occurred to me that this is a bunny. I don't know why. She has a bunny as her icon or her avatar. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out. Sue N is here. Says happy Saturday. Happy Saturday indeed. Chris wonders, I wonder what the max heart rate on a dog would be. Is their range even similar to ours? I don't think so. I think it's way higher. And I was thinking not the same thing, but I was thinking about a lot about dogs and just like all out sprinting yesterday. We watched a movie last night. It's one of my mother-in-law's favorite movies. It's a really good movie. I mean, it's not going to ever be critically acclaimed, but I just really enjoy it. It's a movie about a dog that talks. Like the dog doesn't literally talk. The dog has like an inner monologue that you can hear, and it's human talk. It's about a dog that like has to find its way home like 400 miles and goes on like this crazy journey and befriends like a mountain lion or something, some sort of forest cat. And it's a pretty sad movie. And my daughters hadn't watched before. They're tough to get them to watch movies. If it's not something that they pick, they like, it's like trying to get them to eat vegetables or something. It's just like they won't do it. It takes multiple tries. And yesterday they finally watched it. And there was that part where the dog gets chased by wolves and it's just sprinting. And I'm like, man, that dog's really moving. I want to be able to move like that. Not like a dog, but like I just want to have that feeling of just like really letting it rip and going. Not being chased by wolves running fast, but just running fast. But that's an interesting question. Any veterinarians in here? Or other dog lovers that might know that? Jeff Elliott is here. Good to see you again, Jeff. David Prabhu, good to see you again too. Roberto, good to see you. Lots of familiar names and faces. If anyone, hey, Runner Dre's here as well. If anyone's new today, welcome. It's going to be pretty informal today. We're just hanging out, just kind of like I'm like a chat moderator, I guess, for today. If you have any running questions, feel free to put them in there. I'm happy to answer them. If I can't answer them, I'm sure someone else here can. But we're just hanging out, so welcome. Shannon's here as well. She's with the early birds. Man, I'm still only on the comments that came before 3 o'clock. I'm going to scroll down. Sorry about that, guys. Although Matt Vo says heart rate. Standard heart rate in dogs is 60 to 100 beats per minute for large breeds and 100 to 140 for small breeds. Nice. Interesting. I didn't know that. And yeah, Philip says that the normal heart rate depends on the size. Small dogs and puppies are 120 to 160. Dogs over 30 pounds have heart rates of 60 to 120. I suppose that makes sense. It vary depending on their size. Frank says his kids won't watch whatever the other one wants to watch. That sounds about right. Will Willing says, Kofuzi saw your video yesterday, very inspiring, and went out and set a new distance record today, 7 miles. Awesome. Well, let's get the cowbell up for that one. Good job, Will. Great job on getting out there and running farther than you've ever run before. Amazing. Tom McNamara says, are you entering the Chicago Marathon Lottery, or do you have qualifying? Yeah, I think it's Tuesday is for guaranteed and non-guaranteed entry. I have to check to see if my time, I'd be going off of my tunnel marathon time. That for me was good for age for guaranteed entry last year. So hopefully it still is this year. Did Chicago Marathon do a virtual thing? Because if it did, that's a bummer. Because I was like working on a pretty good streak. I'd run it 3 years in a row. So like, I think if you do it 5 times in a row, then you're also guaranteed entry So, I guess you just have to keep doing it every year. But I do want to run it because it goes by my house. So it'd be a real bummer to not be able to be a part of it. Yeah. Ben White says, put a Polar H10 on that doggo. Can you imagine how much your watch would freak out if you put a heart rate monitor on your dog and then had it go to your watch? I wonder how many days it would take if like the heart rate was like at like 230 for like an hour. I don't know how high a dog's heart rate could be, but I imagine if it's a resting heart rate is real low, I imagine that the exertion or the max heart rate is really, really high. Your watch would tell you need to rest for a good 9-10 days. Oh no, Lewis Cameron says he did go to the vet today, and his pug has a newly diagnosed heart murmur. I'm sorry to hear that, Lewis. I hope it's not going to be something that's too too terrible for the dog. That sounds really bad. All right. Yev Carmen says Argo is a movie by Ben Affleck about the American embassy rescue in Iran. Oh, okay. When the Levee Breaks, a song by Led Zeppelin, and the drum intro is perfect sound. All right, I'll have to check that out. Frank wonders if human heart rates depend on size. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know on that one. Any human doctors in here? I wonder. And Rin Keeley says, I wonder what a cheetah's heart rate is at max speed. I don't know. It's got to be insane. Steve says, studies have concluded that all mammals get about 1 billion heartbeats per lifetime. Didn't Google that. Really? See, I used to be of the opinion that a human gets like a certain number of beats, and it's like if you spend a lot of time running, you're using them up. But I don't really think that anymore. But what studies that all what? I mean, how many is 1 billion beats? How long is that? Lewis says, talking about dogs, my Golden is going to have puppies in about 2 weeks. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, that's cool. That's very, very cool. Bowie went out for am I saying that right? I know you told me how to say that before. I apologize. I think I'm saying it right. Bowie went out for a 3-mile easy recovery run yesterday. Came out in a really hot sweat and a sickness feeling. Had turned back. Never happened in my life. Worried. Well, I mean, I check your temperature and stuff. Hopefully it's not COVID, or this time of year it could be flu, depending on where you are. I think, does flu in the southern hemisphere also hit this time of year? I don't know. But yeah, if it's a 3-mile recovery run and you're just coming back in a giant sweat, I would say you're getting. I think probably the best thing is that you're getting a cold. You're getting sick. So rest up, get some hydration in you, and hopefully it resolves pretty soon. Neat Penguin says, hey Kofuzi, cool look at the Peg 37 Trail GTX today. 2 questions. How does it compare to Peg 36 Trail GTX? And how stable did the 37 seem on the trail with all that foam? I bought the Peg 36 Trail Cortex. I don't know that I ever ran in it. But I had one. And then I think I gave it to Seth. But I ran in the Peg Trail, the first one, and that one just reminded me of a lot of like, it was kind of like Wild Horse, Terra Kiger, Peg Trail. It's kind of like the spectrum that I felt from it, and then like Peg Trail, and then like Pegasus Shield. It's kind of like how I felt about it. So it was like you could use it on trails, but it really felt like something that you were using like. If you're running primarily on streets, maybe in some inclement weather, or if you're maybe running on some grass, because like that's kind of like what I felt for the Peg Trail 36. The Peg Trail 2, I think, is a little bit more trail oriented. It kind of feels to me. I mean, it's taller than the Terra Kiger, so I feel like they're both similar. Then they have React midsoles. I always forget. Does the Terra Kiger have a rock plate? I think it has a little bit of one, but it's not really a plate. I'm not sure, but it's got something in there. But the Terra Kiger for me seems more like speed trail oriented, and then the Peg Trail 2 is like kind of the similar feel, a similar use case, but for daily training rather than trying to go faster or like really race up the hill. So that's kind of thing it fits in. And stable, was it? I felt like it was pretty stable. It's a wide platform, but it's also tall. So I think like those two things kind of like neutralize each other. I didn't feel like I was too tall at any point. Although I was looking at the Terra Kiger stack heights, and that stack height, it's like 10.5 millimeters in the forefoot. So it's like 9, it's like half the stack height of the Peg Trail 2. So I just didn't realize it was that low, because it felt like a tall shoe to me as well. But it didn't. I didn't feel like it was like a tall shoe. I was able to make a lot of turns, because in that park everything's like really windy and short. And even the uphills are short, the downhills are short, but everything's like very drastic. And so I felt great going through. So I felt good about it. All right. Mark Salzman says they do that in the Geico commercial. What are they doing in the Geico commercial? They put the step counter on the dog. Yeah. I was trying to think of what Geico commercial that is. But the reason why this caught my eye, this comment, is because I've been loving I guess they're Progressive. They're not Geico. They're Progressive commercials. The one where like the guys like the How Not to Be Your Parents coach, like that whole series of commercials. I just absolutely love those commercials because I don't think that in a lot of ways I'm becoming that, but in some ways it just really hits me and my wife, I feel like, really hard, in a very funny way. The one that's been out recently is like they try to get the man to sit down on a chair without like grunting and groaning. Like he sits down and he's like, oh, and then the life coach is just like, did everyone hear that? We're not supposed to be doing that. I do that all the time, and I'm doing it because I'm tired from running most of the time. But I mean that's something where I'm like, oh, I need to maybe I should work on that. Maybe that's something I don't need to do every time I sit down. Teddyman Tactico says, do you think Adidas Adizero Pro delivers a carbon plate functionality without the extra cushioning, which we have in other shoes? The Adizero Pro, no, I don't think so. I feel like that one, it reminds me more of like a Rocket X than it reminds me of like the Adios Pro or a Vaporfly Next Percent or Alphafly. So that one, I want more carbon feel to it. I'm not really getting it. I'm getting a lot of feeling that the shoe feels fast, and I like going fast in it. I think I did a VO2 max test in it, like a road simulated test. I didn't have like the face mask stuff on. And it's great for going fast in short distances because there's not a lot of stack height underneath it. So like, but like, I don't feel like I'm getting a carbon like punch from it. And I'm not getting like a marathon distance level of cushioning underfoot. It's for me either a training shoe, like a training racer / racer, kind of like an Endorphin Speed, but more kind of like a Zoom Fly kind of thing. But yeah, for me, it's not a marathon racer. I wish it were because the price is right. You can get them. They look great, but all right. Matt Vo says, Runderwear, suggestions on keeping himself warm on winter runs. What I usually do when I know it's going to be really cold and maybe it's going to be windy is I might double up. So I'll do full length tights underneath and then my running pants on top. If I'm so I won't wear like running tights that day. I'll wear like something that's a little bit baggier. And then put running tights underneath. So I've got underwear, running tights, and then pants. Or I'll go like like thin running tights, maybe a thicker running tight, and then a pair of shorts on top. That extra layer of the shorts not only gives you pockets in case your tights don't have pockets, but it also gives you just one extra layer of fabric. And a lot of my running shorts are a material that I think, will end up blocking wind. They're not, I don't know if it actually does, but it feels like it kind of is like windbreaker-y materials. So that's kind of what I do. Jaranor Blum says, I was watching your Pegasus Trail 2 review. Agree on most, but I feel the shoe is too unstable for technical trails. At least it's too thin if you have downhills. Good job with the reviews. Thank you. I mean, that makes sense. I could see that. But I don't think that the people are going to be picking up. And I wouldn't recommend it if something's like very technical. Where if something is like, and what by technical, I mean like if you're thinking maybe I should bring poles or something, I don't think that pretty much anything from the Nike line is going to make you happy. Maybe the Wild Horse, but I don't even know if that's going to make you happy either. And that's where I'm starting to think about stuff like Speed Goat, even the Sense Rides, like a lot of the Solomon shoes, the stuff where, in the Peg Trail 2 review, I talk about the soft rubber underneath. That's something that I saw in like the Hoka Torrent. The Ultra Superior was super soft and squishy rubber foam on the outside. and a lot of the Nike trail shoes, very, very soft rubber underneath, even though the lugs seem like they're really big. They're very comfortable underfoot. But like the Brooks Catamount, the Sense Ride 3, those have rubber that's very dense. The kind that I feel like if someone stepped on me in one of those shoes, it would really hurt. If someone stepped on me in like one of the Nike trail shoes, I don't feel like it would like hurt. You're getting stepped on, that would hurt. But I don't feel like the rubber outsole itself would leave like marks. But if there's other rubber shoes that are out there that are doing that, basically everything from Salomon, I think. And so I think that's what you want for like technical trails, stuff where like if the rocks are gonna like if the mountain is crumbling underfoot like as you're running, yeah, I don't think that Nike trail is really gonna be for you. That's my take on it. Yeah, that's the hard thing about for me to doing like trail shoe reviews is because I think that there's like a relatively small contingent of very passionate trail runners that are very good and have been doing what they're doing for a very long time, and they have very specific needs. And then there's the rest of everyone who's like, I might go run in a park. I might go run in the grass, some dirt roads, some access roads, that kind of thing, that think like, their road shoes probably can work, but maybe there's rocks and gravel there, or maybe it's a little bit too slippery for that, and I'm looking for something just a little bit more grip. I fall into that bigger second category, and like there's always a lot of people that are like, yeah, but when I'm like trying to do a couple of 14ers in one day, it's just not enough for me. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. So yeah, that's kind of like my take on it. I'm surprised that Nike this year didn't come out with something that is a lot more like a Sense Ride 3, something that's really stiff underfoot, to kind of like have that other product like position in the lineup, because I think that's something that's missing for them. Stevie76 says, I'm the rest. Yeah, me too. Let's see, Traxto, what's going on? It says, I'll let you choose which shoe I long run in tomorrow. It's a very hilly and tough run. Hilly and tough. Peg 37, Vomero 15, Clifton 6 or Clifton 7. I go with the Vomero 15 just because I want to see how that goes. He says it's going to be 16 miles. I go with the Vomero 15 just because I don't think we're going to get that in the U.S. So I just want to see more people running in it, see how it goes. So that's my answer. But yeah, and for 16 miles, I don't know that I want to be in a Pegasus for 16 miles. So I'd probably pick the Vomero 15 or maybe the Clifton 7. But I go with the Vomero. Let's see it. Oh, Bowie wants to know what's in the flask tonight. Oh, coffee. I'm just so tired. Teddy Man Tactico says, what socks brand do you use and recommend? I love Darn Tough. They're made in the United States. They make really great socks. Everything from like no show or like low cut to over the calf. I've also been really enjoying Stance socks lately. Really good. My favorite cheap brand is Roadrunner Sports. And I kind of like Injinji. It's been good to me. So that's the weird option. But yeah. Affluent Journey says, what's the point of the SR3 stiffness? I bought a pair and had to return it. I think the point of it is like if you're like climbing up, if you're running up a hill or down a hill and the footing is really loose. Like, I mean, think about like, when you watch like what was that show on Discovery? Like the truckers where they're like off the edge of the mountain and as like the truck goes over the road, like the rocks are crumbling down and it's like a cascade of rocks. Like if you're running in that, if you're hopping a lot on the rocks back and forth, something where you need to dig into the ground, that I think is what the Sense Ride 3 is for. It lists itself as like a transitional shoe or what I call the crossover shoe. I don't think that's what it is. I don't like it for that. I don't even like it on buffed out dirt road. I think it's too stiff. So I think you need it for when conditions are either really loose or really messy, like lots of mud, you're in grass, stuff where like when your foot hits, it's sliding. That's what like all that grip is for in my opinion. I mean, coming from someone who's mostly a road runner, having tried it, I don't know. Yeah. So, Heat Penguin says, I precisely use the Peg 36 for trail access roads and have the Sensor i3 also, but they only come into their own in the actual forest for me. Yeah. Otherwise, like Kofuzi said, sometimes too much shoe. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. I'm glad that like I'm not just completely getting it wrong on that one, and that people are actually using the shoes that way. But yeah, the Peg 36 trail for access roads, I think it's great. I think that's like the dirt roads is what I think that's what it's made for. Yeah. Mark Saltzman says, when I tried the Ultra Escalante for the first time, does it feel weird? It's a surprise because I didn't expect it to be so like springy. I was expecting something kind of like either very firm and hard, and I felt like I was going to be slapping the ground a lot with it. That's just because it's a zero drop, and I'm not that used to it. But I just found like a very pleasant running experience. It had me running more midfoot to forefoot than normal, probably because of the zero drop. But I ended up really liking it. So yeah, I mean, does it feel weird? A little bit, yeah, but in a good way, I think. Frank says, Frank is Batman, by the way, his avatar right here. So my favorite general all-purpose shoe is a Clifton. What's your favorite all-purpose shoe? Normally it's the Pegasus. The Pegasus 37, though, was not my favorite. I just felt like it was tuned for running faster and not so much as all-purpose. So, I go back and forth on it. Whether I like the Peg 37 more or the Nova Blast. Lately, I've been just really liking the Nova Blast more as a great all-purpose shoe. I'm also running in the Beacon 3 right now, which is also typically in like my favorites for all-purpose. I really like the Beacon a lot. Brian and Ollie says, love the runner's knee video. You make the one leg squat seem like an easy progression. Respect. Well, thank you. It took a long time. I did a lot of work on it. It was a lot of, it hurt in a good way a lot of the time, like that pistol leg squat. And I'm still working on figuring out how do I make my other leg, the one that's not working, stick out straight. Because when I do like the pistol leg squat, the one leg's supposed to stick out and your other leg bends down. Mine is like all kinked. And I just can't straighten it out. Same thing if I just lay it out on the ground and try to do like a single leg raise. It's not a straight leg. It's like, it's all weird. I can't straighten my legs. And that's, again, definitely like a mobility stretching issue and something I've been working on a little bit. But I'm not sure how exactly to work on that yet. I'm figuring it out, though. Takoyaki Runner, again, a name that I just love. Takoyaki Runner says, are there any shoes that you've bought more than once? These days, I don't buy the same shoe more than once anymore because I'd rather get to new shoes. But I think the Pegasus 33, I bought 3 of them. The Pegasus 34, I bought 4 of them that year, all in different colors. But yeah, I really like that. The Pegasus has always been kind of my shoe. It agrees with me. And the feeling, it's just like the Pegasus always has a pretty familiar feeling to me. It just feels like a regular running shoe. This year was a bit of a departure. I just think that they made the React too firm. Rob Vance Bowen says, hi Kofuzi, what are the most cushioned shoes these days? I'm building up to running every day and trying to avoid injury. Speed is not that important to me now. I would say I like the Nova Blast for every day. You can use that one. It's very cushioned, very like spongy. The 1080 V10, the Triumph 18, those are like probably like the 3 that I would look at. And the Bondi 7 is one from Hoka that is very max cushioned. And if speed is not that important to you, then yeah, I would definitely recommend the Bondi because that one's going to slow you down a little bit. But definitely, when my knees were hurting, that was one that I was very glad to be having in the rotation. So it was a good one. I was watching some videos on the ZoomX Invincible because you guys kept calling it the ZoomX Invincible. I'm like, no, it's a React Invincible. But it is a ZoomX Invincible. It's an all ZoomX shoe, which makes it a very different thing in my mind. I just thought with the way that they designed that midsole that I thought it was React. But so I was wrong on that. That one, I think, is going to be, that's the primary purpose of that shoe is to let people run or like build up and ramp up, increase their running without injury. It was supposed to come out like this week, but I just saw Running Warehouse's video on it, and they said it's coming early February. So I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if that's going to go the way of the Vomero 15 or what. but we'll see how it happens to that. Robert Dorian says, greetings from Romania. Welcome, Robert. That's awesome. Glad to have you here. Christian said, I got runner knee from trying to do the pistol squat. It's tough. It's really hard. And here's the thing about the pistol squat, though. Bob and Brad, two most famous physical therapists on the internet, just made a video saying, like, you should stop doing the pistol squat. And I was like, oh, boy, I'm in trouble. But the reason they don't like it is because it gets you all the way to end of motion. And they think there's a lot of extra strain for people when they do that. And so they don't love it, but they do recommend the chair version where you like sit yourself down from a pistol leg squat into a chair, kind of like I was saying with like using a step to sit on as like a kind of like my intro way of doing it. And then they were like, and you can brace yourself and pull yourself up if you need help. And so like those they like, so they're okay with the exercise and I still like it. But it can, I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was doing them at home and I stopped doing them because it was bothering my knee. And I wonder if I just kept doing it and really focusing on why are certain parts of it painful and not, I wonder if that would have prevented some of my issues. I think that was kind of like the first symptom of like something was wrong, but I didn't know that at the time. Affluent Journey says, oh, it's 46 degrees Fahrenheit in Lauderdale tonight. Is that cold? I mean, I know it can frost. Like that happens to like, it affects the orange crop, right? When because it can get that cold in Florida, but I don't know what else is considered cold. I don't know where on the peninsula Fort Lauderdale is either. I'm afraid I'm just not good with my Florida geography. Carl J says, I just ordered the balance disc from the runner's knee video. It looks like a cheaper alternative than a Bosu ball. That's why I got it, because it was like really cheap. But I had to buy two of them because my daughter liked it so much. She started sitting on it for her virtual school because I think it helps her because it lets her fidget a little bit. And also I think the seat that she normally sits on is like a hard wooden chair. So it was like cushion for her bottom as well. So like be careful. If you got kids, they'll probably take it. So the first one I bought was in black. That's why she took it. So then I bought another one in purple, because I let her pick the color. It comes in lots of colors. So I had to buy a couple of them. Oh, Ben Browning said, Sydney's northern beaches locked down and over. Awesome. Great. I mean, it seemed to me from, literally halfway around the world that it wasn't that long. Hopefully it wasn't too long for you guys. But I'm glad that it was able to be lifted. Affluent Journey says, there's no frost in Broward, Palm Beach County and North. Oh, okay. All right. Raw, I want to say it's raw RSS, but I want to say it's RARS. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. It says, hey Kofuzi, Happy New Year. Watch your runner's knee video. So happy you fixed the pain imbalance. Have a great 2021. Oh, thank you so much. Hope you have a great 2021 as well. Thanks for stopping by today. Brian Anali says, did you see Hoka's 100K world record event on January 23rd? The elites are going for the record, Walmsley included. Yeah, I mean, he has good luck with Hoka events because he set like the 50K record, right? With the Carbon X. Now it's Carbon X2, so it's going for 100K. But like I saw it and they were like over the course of two events, like Hoka's athletes are going to be doing blah, 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 right? And I was like, what's the two events and why is it over two events? I don't understand what's happening. So like I guess I need to look into it a little bit further in terms of seeing what the details are. We've been talking about Ekidens, or people were talking about Ekidens, and I was hoping to see something about it on YouTube. And I thought that YouTube had finally fed me something because I saw a race and it was in Japanese, but it was for a marathon. The Fukuoka marathon was in December or something like that, and it had like 100 guys in it. And I was watching it. I didn't finish watching. I only watched like the first couple miles. But as I was watching it, I'm seeing all these Japanese runners. Kauchi was there too. And he had his hat, and he always bends his hats funny, I just think that's so much swagger. It's like old Asian dude swagger, which I kind of love. And but I was like watching all these Japanese runners, and the one thing that came to mind was I actually didn't pay attention to their shoes. I think I was just so like astonished by that many fast Asian dudes in one place. And I was like, look at all these people who understand like the plight of having thick Asian hair and trying to run with that. And I was like, this is amazing. I just watched everyone's hair for like 10 minutes. I don't know why that it became like an obsession. I was like, oh, like that guy's got a bowl cut. This guy's got longer hair. This guy's got shorter hair. I was just like, look at all this Asian hair. You just don't see it a lot, you know? I don't see it a lot. So I was just very happy to see it. Peak says, imagine if Kofuzi made his own kind of studio like sets. I mean, I've thought about that. I mean, I can't do it here because it's not my house. I can't do it actually at my own house because there's not enough space. But I thought about like what it would look like if I had that. I don't know. I wouldn't put like medals up on the back. I wouldn't put bibs up. I don't know that I'd put shoes up even in the background. I don't know. I kind of just like having it be like just my house because this is where I am. I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I were to make a studio. I think it would probably be like if I had the space for that, I'd probably have like a bike and a treadmill in there for doing like indoor workouts and stuff. And so that's where I think that's probably what would be in the background, if anything. So it'd be really functional. It wouldn't be decorated. I'm not that good at that. Jody says he's in day 2 of 3 lockdown. Oof. Hopefully it goes quick, Jody. Ali Punsak Varasan. Ali Punsak Varasan. I hope I said that right. Says, do you have a Theragun? I use it to warm up, plus stretching. I think hip hinges save my knees a bunch. I don't have a Theragun, but I have a different variety of other massage guns, and I do like those. I've not really been like, I've never felt the need to use them as a warm up. I don't know. I like them as afterwards, kind of like as I'm sitting down, rehydrating, drinking something, relaxing, because that just puts me in a relaxed mood when I have that on. Maybe it's the hum of the machine or what, but like I just feel relaxed when I do that. So it's never occurred to me to use it as a warm up. But I see people doing that all the time, like on YouTube. Like people are about to go work out, and then you see footage of them like, massage gunning themselves, and I'm like, is that the product placement, or do they actually like to have that done beforehand? Like I can't figure that out. I feel like it's product placement most of the time. I don't know. But I've seen it like I've been watching what's his name? Ben Crawford. He makes all those videos about the like he follows around like the University of Oregon team, and they had a whole bunch of Theraguns before they went on a long gun. I don't know if they were Theraguns, but they had massage guns. And it's NCAA, so they're not they can't be paid to be using that stuff beforehand. So like I don't know, maybe people are using it. It doesn't for me. I'd rather relax with that, I guess. But I don't think it's a bad idea though. But the hip hinges, like hip movement, yeah, I think it like the knees for me, it's glutes and hips. I think they're both kind of related. When the glutes aren't activated, the hips are working funny, and so then they get tight. And I think that like opening up the hips, activating the glutes, all the stuff's connected to the other stuff, like the song says. So like I'm just really kind of obsessed with like hip openers and just move that kind of movement. Dan Runs is here. Says great to see you all. Great to see you too, Dan. What's going on? Yeah, Teddy Man Tactical says your daughter likes the color pink. Didn't she give you nail polish in one of these? She did. It's changed now. Like older daughter tends to like purple more, but the baby loves pink. The baby is like super into unicorns. Everything is unicorns. She's turning into the third, like the youngest daughter in what is it? Despicable Me. She just like goes nuts for the unicorn. Then she makes the same like screaming sound. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And she even likes a top pony where it just like sticks up on the top real funny. it's pretty cool. And the thing is, I don't think that they've seen those Despicable Me movies, but like they don't like it. They don't love it. They will tolerate me putting it on sometimes. So it's not like, she sees that and is emulating it. She loves unicorns. But she's always loved narwhals too. So like anything that seems like mystical and has a horn, she's into. not we haven't seen a big push for rhinos, but we'll see. Maybe that'll happen. Yeah. Roadrunner Reviews is here as well. What's going on? Good to see you again. Jody says, now US has a real leader on January 20th. Do you think you will have lockdowns to try and control COVID? 4K deaths a day is just mind-blowing to me. I can't see how it is acceptable. I don't think there's going to be real lockdowns. I think that's one of those things that can be still left to states to handle if they want to do that. Because like they're doing something like that in Los Angeles right now. That's where it's just like super crazy, and I think that they have some sort of variant there. That's why it's going so haywire in Los Angeles. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. But like the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago are doing different things as well to try and control things on their own level. And I think that given the size of the United States, I think that makes a lot of sense too, just because there's going to be so much variability in terms of what's going on. What I hope happens is that there will be a new, or finally a first emphasis on testing and tracing, so that we can find out if, like, hey, you know what? It turns out gyms aren't a big super spreader place because we've done the testing of people who are getting sick, and none of them are getting sick from gyms. So let's open gyms, and it's fine. And we can figure out no one's getting sick from getting their haircuts. So then let's get people get haircuts. Without doing that kind of testing, we can't make those decisions. So we just have to shut stuff down. And so like I hope that that'll happen. I don't know that it will. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's a weird. I mean, I think things are going to get better, but I don't think things are going to. I don't think lockdowns are something that like the U.S. has an appetite for, unfortunately. Walter Souza says, "Are you excited about the ASICS Nusa 13? Is that the weird looking one? The one that like is for triathletes? Is that one? I'm not sure." David Lidstone says, "Unicorns are Scotland's national animal." That's not true? Is that true? I think you're taking advantage of the fact that I'm an American and I went to public school in New Jersey, where I probably couldn't even identify Scotland on a map. I mean, I know the general area where it is, but like I can't identify it. So someone telling me that unicorns are our country's national animal, I don't know. I think I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're joking. I'm pretty sure you are. Roberto Davila says, "My daughter turned 17 today. Missed the unicorn days." I know. I'm loving that she's into the unicorns. The bedtime stories, and the girls have been demanding. They've been demanding fresh content. They don't want We got some new books for Christmas and stuff, so we've been able to read that. But other than some of the new books we got, they've been demanding fresh content. So I've had to make up stories every night for bedtime stories. They frequently involved unicorns. Yeah. So I've been talking a lot about unicorns lately. I just like an impromptu. I got to make them up on the spot. They're like, name the unicorn Lala, and then the unicorn has a horse friend named Jimmy. I'm like, okay. So Lala and Jimmy are walking through the forest one day. And it's like that. And I try to make them have like as tedious of like and it's never some like grand adventure. There's not some giant journey. I'm like, and they're trying to decide what they're going to have for lunch today. Jimmy says, but then I end the story. And then immediately afterwards, the girls always give me a review, what they think of the story. And then sometimes they're like, "Daddy, we love that story." And other times they're like, "Daddy, you tried very hard to make us a good story today." Ben Browning says, "The unicorn is the Brexit beast." Oh, man, you guys are funny. Stevie76 says, "My kids bully me into getting Disney Plus." Disney Plus is great. I watched The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. It's great. They've got so much National Geographic content on it. I love it. I love a good like ocean documentary. That stuff like that, and like, yeah. So that's just been fantastic. And then we watched a whole bunch of Christmas movies on Disney Plus. It was good. I'm a big fan of Disney Plus. Let's see. Yeah, Cristiano says 70 million people in the United States think 4K deaths equals freedom. Yeah, I mean, I think more of it is that the thing that 4K deaths a day is not my problem. It's not me, so I'm not going to care about it. Yeah. So there's the. I mean, it's just I don't know. I no longer have. I mean, I still have hope, but like I don't know. It's like it's intervention time, right? And I don't know how we do that though. Let's see. Rinky Lee says, some days I just want to get the run over and done with. I go out fast and try and keep the pace. That's a good way to do it. I mean, you're getting it in. You're getting the run in. I feel like for those days where you just want to get the run over with, I just kind of like once you get out, you know, I get a good podcast in or some music in. After the warm up, I'm usually in a pretty good mood. It feels good. I felt really, really great. I feel like I was in a great mood today after my run. Plus, I think the other thing that helped is like as soon as I came down, my daughter came down and she was like, "Dad, guess what? I slept great last night." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "I slept in late and I feel fantastic today." And I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." So she was in such like a great bubbly mood. So that also like kind of amplified my good mood coming in for my run. But for my run, I was going to do kind of like I've been doing this for the past couple of weeks where I do a long run with a work phase in the middle, but like a moderate pace one. And today I was feeling really good. So I was like, you know, I'm going to make the last couple of miles of that a little bit faster and make it a little bit from a moderate effort run to like a moderate hard effort run. And so I did that, but I had like hit I was looking at the wrong like data field on my watch. And so where I thought like was the point that I wanted to pick up the pace for the last couple of miles, I was early by like 2 miles or by about a mile and a half. So I had what I thought was going to be like 2 miles of fast work or 2.25 miles of fast work ended up being like 4 miles of fast work. So that's a lot more than I was expecting. So I'm pretty tired today, but I just had a good time out there. So sometimes it works out that way. It doesn't always work out that way, but I felt good. Trains with Coda says, "I want to get back to the gym so bad." Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's been tough. I think on my in-laws because I think that they would normally like this time of year when it's so cold out, they'll join like the gym and they'll go there and like walk on the treadmills and stuff. But they don't want to go right now. They're very much open here. My sister-in-law and their family, they go all the time, but they're very much open. But I'm not comfortable going, and they're not either. So I do miss it. I was thinking about it today because last April, actually, I think I've been doing it long enough that I can quit now. Shortly before the pandemic, I had signed up for. I think I can quit now. I'd signed up for Equinox. It's a very expensive gym, but I signed up for it thinking like. If I was run commuting and I needed to take a shower, then I have a place to shower downtown. Or if like my schedule was going to be crazy and all I had time was like for a lunch run, I could do that and then also take a shower there and like, still be fresh for work. But like I've been paying for that this whole time. It's just really expensive. I think I can quit now, so I'm going to quit because I'm not run commuting anymore, so I don't need that. But I do miss the gym. Not that I like love the gym to begin with, but like when it's gone, it makes you think about it. Dr. Funk says, I obviously if I had a studio, I couldn't call it a studio because that's Seth's thing. But how about a museum? Dr. Funk's gonna think of a better name. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I was, we could call it like the dojo or something like that because Kofuzi or whatever, call it the temple. I don't know. That's really, really dumb. But I don't know if we're gonna go that route. But I don't think we'll do that. Ben Browning says maybe POTUS 46 will put together some coordination like Australia has between the federal government and the states. That would be nice. It'd be very refreshing to see if that happened. And Ben says the testing trace is crucial. I think so too. Teddyman Tactical says, I run in hot summer during the midday marathons as well. Cover myself completely and I remain healthy. Good. JC says if I were to make a studio, we should call it the Coast Studio. That's a lot of weird sounds in one word. I like it. Yeah. All right, let's get a couple more. And then Dr. Funk 1216 says, Dojo reminds me of Cobra Kai, by the way. I wish I was a karate gangs in my high school. I totally wish I was karate gangs in my high school. Even if they would have tormented me, I kind of wish that would have been the case. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about, like, because Karate Kid was on, like, they played all of them in a row, like, for a couple of days in a row. I forget what channel it was on. Like, we were watching it. And I was like, I don't know. I want to, like, do we call it the Kofuzi Dojo, right? Because there's Miyagi-Do. That was the name of his, like his team and his, like, club, I guess. So I was like, do we call it Kofuzi-Do? That'll be kind of fun. Because then you're getting, like, a somewhat Japanese thing with a somewhat Chinese thing with a Korean name. There we go. It's like Pan-Eastern Asian. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, Dojo definitely reminds me of Cobra Kai. I think that, like, if I were to call it anything, I would go probably and watch Kung Fu Panda and figure out what do they call the area that they're training. Because, like, you know, I definitely feel like Kung Fu Panda most of the time. So especially when I, like, go to, like, running events and I get access to, like, talk to people or like go behind the scenes. I'm like, I feel like Poe when he's, like, fighting with the other Dragon Warrior candidates, and it's just like, whoa. That's kind of how I feel a lot of the time. So I feel like that would be the most appropriate thing for me. Or McGowan says, what's the slowest pace where you would do a warm-up first? I do a warm-up for every run. So even for, like, a run today, which was a 15-mile run, first 15 minutes were just very, very easy pace. And then I went moderate for the next 13 and then cool down for, like, about a half mile. About a little bit less than 3/4 of a mile. The shortest, though, I mean, if I were doing a really short run, I don't know, I'd probably want to get at least, like, let's say I only had 30 minutes. I'd probably want to get in at least, like, 5 minutes of warm up. And then I'd probably, because I was rushed, run a little bit harder than I probably should for the day. And then cut down the cool down to, like, 3 minutes. 5 minutes maybe. But I think that rather than, like, oh, this is going to be a short run. Oh, slowest pace though? Yeah. But even if I'm doing, like, an easy run where it's just going to be warm up pace kind of the whole time, it's still warm up the whole time. So that's kind of like something that I don't know that if you're a younger runner that you need to do because you're limber, but for someone that's mine, not that I'm that old, but, like, you know, that's kind of how I feel about it. Yeah, Dr. Fung says, don't they train in some temple in Kung Fu Panda, or am I mistaken? That's what I think. So that's why I'm like, I'm sure it has a name. I don't know. I think it's just, maybe they just call it the temple. I don't know. Yeah. Sam Gazinski says, been running about 2 years, have kind of plateaued because of what I suspect is volume. I typically hold at about 25 miles per week, but anytime I try to bump it up, I get injured. Any advice? I would say when you bump it up, slow down. Make sure you're slowing down and taking it easy. That's what I would try. Because if you're just like, all right, so normally I run 25 miles per week. That's like 3 runs at a time, maybe 4 runs a week, running maybe 5 or 6, like maybe about 10K at a time. And then you keep going and you add a 5th day at that same 10, kind of like, this is my normal 10K pace. That might be too much for you. So, like, on that 5th day, just go for time on feet and go really slow and don't really worry about how long you're running, but just to get that additional time and ease into it. That's how I would do that. Let's see, Hoss Dog, and we'll end with this one, says, how different is your stride between your easy day runs and fast-paced runs? Similar but less heel lift, or same amount of heel lift but less cadence? I would say like the stride length is shorter when I'm going slower. The cadence is a lot slower when I'm going slower. I would say that heel lift, yeah, all those things. It's just a slower version of it. I'm probably landing more on the midfoot than I am on the forefoot for like a fast-paced run. I'm more on my toes. And I make much more of an emphasis on pushing through, like through the glute, really kicking that, trying to kick the heel, push the heel into the ground. Not literally, but like mentally, that's what I tell myself, push your heels into the ground with my push off. And so that's like something that I do think about a little bit with slower pace runs, but then when I do that, it pushes me into like moderate pace. So like it doesn't always work out well. But yeah, I mean, the knee drive isn't there. So like the knees are a little bit lower and like the feet are just stay closer to the ground, right? Stay closer to the ground rather than getting picked up so much. So that's what I think. All right, I'm going to leave it there for today, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Tomorrow, no video because it's one of the 2 weekend days. I had a video today, so I won't do one tomorrow. But we'll have one Monday. But we will also still have a live stream tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Time, right back here. Hopefully, I'll see you again. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody.